Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and War Games. In this video we are covering the release for May, and finally, after much wait and much memes expecting when this ship would finally arrive, we have it. The Vauban battlefleet set is coming this month of May. It has been teased like more than a year ago, and it had some crazy rules. All the French players were waiting it because it would mean also the introduction of the French SRS token, the Frelon bomber. Everybody was extremely waiting for that, and yeah, like we were very happy that it's here. So without further ado, let's have a look at what you get. There it is. So as you can see, it's a massive battle fleet. It's absolutely going to be the most expensive type of box you can get, the same as the Destiny, so about 100 euros. Which is still cheaper than many companies would make you pay, but yeah, something to consider. You get right in the middle the Vauban. We'll get some better picture in a second. You will get two frontline Levant sprues that we already know. You can see some chasseurs, yeah, it's some chasseurs right there, as well as some Malinois SRS token and some submarines. So you get two of each, two Levant frontline, two submarines, two tokens. That's just a little cherry on the cake to make a very like thematic Levant fleet. We'll talk about it more, of course, when we make the unboxing and the Tactica. But obviously, this means that it's gonna be a great complement to the Alliance starter set. And yeah, like we will talk about it more when it arrives. You can see the big news now that you have 3 and 3, 6 honor, and this lets us know that you are going to take in total, on top of the 2 Levant frontline, you're gonna have 6 Levant support sprue, or I don't know, Alliance Advanced Squadron. I don't know how they're gonna be called, but let's call them Levant support. 4 of them are going to be used to make the Vauban itself with some extra resin, exactly the same as what we have seen for the Destiny. And you're gonna get an extra 2 sprues to make the actual Levant support that look quite interesting. Like, I'm very excited to see how they look in real life. You get as well 6 Frelon bombers, and this is like the big thing. Like, we don't see many bombers in this game. We know the Prussian ones, for example, and this will allow the Alliance to finally become the SRS superpower that they've always meant to be, with all their flagships having so many aircraft. Like they have the Couronne, they have the Minerva, still also the Phoenix slash Saint-Michel, plus the Vauban. You are going to be able to play the SRS game with the Alliance better than almost any faction in the game, except the Imperium, because they do everything better than everyone. So let's start indeed with the Vauban itself. We don't know the rules. In the previous orbit that was a while ago, it used to be able to send the same as an Ice Maiden, 4 or 6 bomber units. I hope it's going to be 6 because you have 6 SRS token in this. And you had also 8 or 10 normal Malinois escort tokens, which is great because it allows them to serve as ablative wounds for the more fragile bombers. Hopefully it's gonna stay the same. The one thing that we don't know at the moment I record this video is whether the Vauban actually has an alternative dreadnought build. For example, removing this little aircraft landing zone here, or building it as like, yeah, battleship. I don't think so. I don't believe, because that would be quite an alternative build. And the resin part here as a full landing area, but maybe the front can be switched. I know it has been a lot of rumors and debates about whether you could make a Levant dreadnought. We're not sure, but at the very least, if you just replace, no, I was about to say if you put some gun batteries over it Lancet, but still it's not going to be crazy good. So probably it's just going to be an aircraft carrier. Sad, but fine, because it does look crazy good, like better than the artwork, I have to say. Then 2 Levant frontline, and so you can build them as chasseur. The basic cheap cruiser, quite fine. I hope it's gonna get boosted with the new Arbat because it is cheaper, but there are some, I will not go into details, but there are some default configuration of how it's built that could be improved. The Furio, you should have either 1, either 3 of those. They are amazing, much more expensive than the Chasseur, but they do a lot more. They have better fray, they can board their landing vessels, and they have heavy escort. So, or corvette duty actually, because they're technically a grand corvette. So Very good, the Furieux, plus it's just such a cool theme. It's basically a super destroyer, French, so also spreading democracy, because French have democracy. And they send drop pods of angry helldivers to conquer islands. Actually, it's a Legionnaire of the Foreign Legion, which is maybe even cooler. And the Volière Levant support carrier, maybe you should build at least one of them, especially if you don't have them, because the bombers of the Couronne, the bombers of the Vauban are going to be quite expensive, in the sense like the ship that can generate them every turn are expensive, so you will want to cover them with some fighter escorts. Depending on whether or not the Vauban has its own SRS token, the Malinois, to escort the bombers or not, one Volière might be almost mandatory. And even if it has bombers, it's always good to have a Volière to again serve as ablative wound for your bombers. Now, a lot of variations for the support ships. I'm quite excited to see all of them. The Dieppe, which used to be with the San Francisco generator that allowed to give a bubble of Solex generator all around him. I'm not sure it kept this rule because I don't see the San Francisco generator anymore, like at all on the model. It does have those one heat lance and one heat lancet, which will pack a punch, like no worry about this. And I am wondering if it has this, like this little ball that we see under here. Could it be the San Francisco? Maybe, because we don't see it on the other ships. So maybe it's a San Francisco, maybe it's a gun battery pointing downwards, I don't know at this point. But if it has a bubble of Solex, it is going to be an insanely good ship to have in the middle of your French fleet. Do note, however, that we don't know the next orbit of the French, but do note that if you use a Solex generator, you cannot use at the same time a coordinated support. You use all your secondary attachments, or vice versa. If you use coordinated support, you cannot gain sustained, which is what Solex brings. So it works very well, the Dieppe, for full heat lance French force, which can happen with some Magenta, some Furieux, some Chasseurs. Usually you want them in reserve because they're very expensive and they want to be at point blank, but it can absolutely work. Don't just put this guy in the middle of some, I don't know, Chevalier or this kind of stuff with one hit lance and then you plan to use coordinated support, because then it will not work. Just something to consider when you plan your fleet building. The Alma, which seems to be the ship from the previous orbit, if I remember, with advanced repair facility, and it can be attached. So very, very good to put on attached to your Saint-Michel or to your Vauban, for example, to make sure that it stays alive. That sounds good. Also on the Magenta, actually, if you make an artillery Magenta, which can happen with torpedo turrets everywhere and the heavy magnetic bombard, can happen, and actually quite fine. You put this Alma on, to make it even tougher, can absolutely work. I think I remember it having heavy escort as well in the previous orbit. Continuing with the Gascony supply ship, I think it's going to be mandatory because if I remember right, this little guy brought a logistical support in the previous orbit. It does look like it would still do this. Maybe this is actually a repair platform. We will see. If it's logistical support, great rule. Always make sure you have at least one ship with this when you make a list at around 1500 points. So sounds invaluable just for this. Plus it's safe from, I don't know, some marauders or torpedoes. And because no, it's not against torpedoes. It just has more resilience because of the Levant surge rule. But it is invincible, invulnerable against robots, so that is already very good. If it only has something like, I think it's called useful freight, which allows you to shuffle a little bit the cards, much less useful, except if they follow the trend of the Chinese ships that we have seen released in the orbit today, which are very cheap for what they bring. They don't do much, but they have some funky rules, like indeed useful freight and stuff, but at 50 or 60 points per cruiser, absolutely good. And finally the Marseille, which is very fun. Like, first of all, it looks cool. Just this part, like with this empty space here, looks weird to me, I will be honest. Plus the command center here might get burned by the flames of the Frelon. It looks as silly as the previous, like there was a Conrad that was like very silly like this. There is also the Jupiter of the Italians that looks a little bit similar, but this is even weirder because it's higher. And there is this empty, like it looks very weird. But I'm not gonna say anything bad because the funny thing is, like, they're so heavy that they put the flying stand going downward because they know that they're so heavy that the bombers are going to fall anyway and they will need to drop them from far away. So that is quite interesting. Just as I say this, I hope it's not going to be something in the rules where you actually need to use your Levant Surge to be able to send your bombers, otherwise they don't have the space to take off. That would be bad. I hope this is not how it's gonna be. But other than these logical considerations apart, which mean that this ship makes no sense, I really like the big bulky appearance of this guy. Like, it's gonna look great once painted. Some submarines, the épaulards are always good to make either a very cheap long-range activation to gain some time, or to make a big pack to like quite bring some damage, like the magnetic bombers did get a buff. Or the Sirene, very good if you have a unit, a fleet that is going to be in the generic alliance force with unexpected arrival, because then you can make the best use of those guys. They deploy with forward deployment, they attack turn 1, hopefully at the end of turn 1, and at the end of the turn they can go back in reserve and come back beginning of turn 2. And going away at end of turn 2, because they have unexpected arrival and strategic withdrawal, combined with the bonus of the generic battlefleet, strategic reserve. It really allows you to have this pack of up to, I think, 5 or 6 Sirene just teleporting around and being very, very efficient hunters, like submarine hunters. Finally, the Honneur, which we see here with the very ugly French rocket batteries. I really don't like it, it's a matter of personal taste. But those guys, you have 6 of them. They look like angry French destroyers. We didn't have destroyers for the French, we had only Écuyères. This is their destroyers. They are scheming, of course. And with 2 gun batteries to the front, they are going to look so good with those 3 little broadside here. Like, it's going to be really adorable. I cannot wait to get this little boy painted at the highest level by Caroune Miniature, that is making our French force. And by the way, a little aparté, do note that Caroune Miniature, our painter, has started his own painting channel. I will put the link in the description, so do take a look and make sure to give him a subscribe, as he's going to start to make some live painting of the channel's Dystopian Wars ships. A little bit sad that they have only 1 generator in the rear, like 2 small on the side would have been cuter to make them move, but very little detail. The Frelon, which is super massive, like this thing is huge. Someone in the French Discord did point out that they look like the Empire aircrafts from Red Alert 3. Absolutely true. We will note that quite a few designs of Dystopian Wars are inspired by Supreme Commander and Command & Conquer, which is fine by me. Like, this is a very good reference to get inspiration from. Yeah, for sure. Like, when you have a look at the Frelon itself, I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit more, but it's basically a mix between the Wasp of Supreme Commander 2 and especially indeed the I think it's what's called the Sea Wing of the Empire. So great inspiration to take, of course, and I cannot wait to get some Frelon on the table. So yeah, you get all of this with the Vauban. Hopefully it will have Fortunes of War or Devin's Own Luck. Let's hope, because they say the crew is very lucky, which is usually how they justify in the fluff to have Fortunes of War. And then we get the Empire Support Squadron, and something very important to note that was brought to you by Speed Demon Painting first, which is the other channel that covers regularly all the Dystopian War stuff. If you don't know him, give him a subscribe as well. He covers it like quite well, and he makes great painting guides, etc. And he's from Belgium, so also like thumbs up for at least half French-speaking countries. What do we get in this stuff? We get the cruisers that we have seen for the Chinese already. They've been teased. Little confirmation, indeed, this is an anti-aircraft ship. No flag barrage, but just good sustained against aerials. The things that was noticed first by him is that there are Chinese escorts as well, and I've seen them for the unboxing. I will make the unboxing video plus Tactica as soon as the Orbat is officially released and will not get any more modification. So they're very cute. And this firebase, which is called, I didn't really check the name actually, the Yansii firebase. And this, I really love the concept, because it's a surface unit, can be like a platform, the same as we've seen for other nations, except this thing can also be a ground unit. In the sense, it can be a ground fortress that is kind of like dropped and stays there. We can see, I'm not sure you can see, right here and right there, there are some little doors to say, like, so you can see the human scale of it. This thing is absolutely massive, and I love this concept. Reminds me a little bit of the drop keeps of the Imperial Knights in 40k. Like, you just drop this and it makes you a fortress right away, and then you can have your troops going out of it. So love the Yansii. It is well priced, and it's the first time I will say that fortification, like a unit, is actually good. Like it's very cheap, resilient enough, and yes, it cannot move, but it's fine. Like, it's not what you absolutely need it to, and I really love it. Like, nothing to say. Like, if all the fortifications, even the generic ones, especially if all the national fortifications could be as good as this, you might see quite a lot more of them. Plus, just having some extra fortification to put on your islands to make some terrain, kind of like it counts as terrain, like it makes the table more beautiful, is always something great to do. Always magnetize it or prepare some variation, so when it's destroyed, just leave it on the table and play it as a wreck. That will make the table so much more beautiful. And that is all we're going to get for this month of May. Well, just like it's insane. Like the Vauban, it's been so long we've been waiting for this. I cannot wait for the Orbat to go in beta so we can see and have some teasers about what it's going to do. I will of course let you know, and as always, do follow Speed Demon Painting, because as soon as he receives his Vauban, and he usually receives his stuff 1 week before me, he will make an unboxing and like video first of all, and painting guide a little bit later. For me, I will make all in one, an unboxing as soon as I receive, but I will wait to make the format that you like, which is unboxing plus Tactica all at once. And since we have had these problems for the last few releases of the Covenant and the Union and stuff, to have the Orbat being officially released a few days after the miniatures are actually available to buy in your shops, it might take a week after the miniature is released for me to publish the video. So do take this into consideration if you want to see it unboxed and built. First of all, do go for Speed Demon Painting. And if you want to see these beautiful miniatures being painted live in exquisite detail, do follow the YouTube channel of Karun, link in the description. Thank you very much for having watched until the end. As always, all the YouTube stuff, give us a thumbs up, it helps. Give us a comment, it gives you a chance to win one of 2 battle fleets, Union and Covenant. And the contest will finish when we reach 1500 subscribers, and then we'll start another one right away. So do tell your friends to go and subscribe, because as soon as we reach 1500, it might be you gaining quite a lot of ships. Like, it's really gonna be a big box sent your way. Thank you very much. Until the next video, remember to keep spreading the love all around, and remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye.